Today we have Isaac and Jenna who are here to share their amazing story from being school teachers to actually, Jenna, what were you before?
I was an orthopedic PA, physician assistant. So I did surgery.
Surgery?
Yeah, hip and knee replacements for 10 years.
Jesus Christ. Okay. So today we're going to share Jenna and Isaac from surgery and being school teachers to running cleaning companies today. And I say two cleaning companies, one of which is in the process of being sold. So let's crack on. Backstory. Isaac, you found how to start your first cleaning company from a Twitter thread. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit, and my summers of being a school teacher, I always strive to do something, to learn something, right? So I have some project over the summer that I was actually working on.
Mhm.
And so I've had some experience dabbling in different businesses and at least coming up with different ideas, as Jenna will attest to. I've
Lots
probably
of
had
ideas.
thousands of business ideas in my in my lifetime, but none of them really stuck. And then I saw a Twitter thread from Rohan, and just I don't even know. I wasn't following him at the time. It just happened to pop up. And it actually was probably about 2 years ago to the day, because
Today.
I vividly remember almost, it has to be almost,
Okay.
because I vividly remember sitting at Thanksgiving at Jenna's mom's house working on my website. So I found this Twitter thread, and it's basically like, hey, how to start your cleaning business in 30 days. I created a couple websites and done some things like that. And I was really into like the automation side of business, and Rohan kind of presented it like that. I think that's kind of Rohan's thing in the cleaning business, is how to automate things and keep it running on its own. And that was really appealing to me. So I went through every day. He said, okay, here's what you're doing today. So I would look at it, I'd do that thing. At the end of 30 days, it was right around Thanksgiving. He's like, all right, you're done. I'm like, oh my goodness, I actually have a business that's like ready to open. And I'm like, what do I do now? Like, I was
And
really more practice, like a sandbox, but
totally. And it's two things. Number one, my sister did exactly the same thing, also from Twitter, 3 years ago. And that's why we have our company today. But second thing, what did you name that cleaning company and where is it? And where are you now?
yeah. So no. So I believe the women's World Cup was going on. Jenna's a
Yeah.
huge soccer
Mhm.
huge soccer girl, and I think the women's World Cup was going on at the time, and so golden goal felt natural to me.
Totally random. Love
And
it.
it's totally random. Not a whole lot of rhyme or reason to it. But that was the name. We live in Columbus, Ohio. I was still a full time high school math teacher at the time. I've been a high school math teacher for about 12 years at the time.
Mm.
And I knew I didn't want people knowing that I was owning and operating a cleaning business while I was still in the classroom. It felt weird to me. It felt odd. And also, I'll be completely honest, like I don't know that I had a ton of confidence in it.
Yeah,
I didn't
totally.
want to really I didn't have the confidence at the time to put myself out there and let everybody know that I was doing this thing just in case it failed.
Mm.
I've come a long way since then. But I think that was probably, if I'm really being honest, I think that was probably part of the reason to not want to do it in my hometown either. So I don't remember exactly what I searched for on Google, but I was looking for the wealthiest zip codes in America, and three of the top 10 were all in northern Chicago. I'm like, perfect, there we go. And so I opened up in northern Chicago, like Evanston area. The rest
And
is history.
now that business is the one that you're currently working on selling.
Yeah,
We'll get into that process at the end, but very cool. And then about a year ago, you booked a discovery call with myself. You didn't know it was going to be me, but I showed up. You got me from our team. Which, by the way, anybody watching this, feel free to book a discovery call. We'll have a one-on-one chat about what you're doing. And I think I said to you, Golden Gold Cleaners is a terrible name.
something
Good
along
for
those
you.
lines. Yeah, it was about that blunt. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty blunt. And I'm a former school teacher too. So we bonded over that. And then for the last year, we've been working together. And you started your next cleaning company? Because your goal was to start one in your own city.
hmm So about a year and a half ago, I quit teaching. So I was a teacher for 14 years. Decided it wasn't something that I wanted to do anymore.
Yep.
And so that was last June. And so I became real estate agent, done a couple other things on the side, and got to the point where I was ready to really devote more time and energy into the cleaning business. The one in Chicago was going pretty well, but I recognized some limitations that I had there in terms of growing it remotely. So I knew I wanted to start one here in Columbus and saw some opportunity here. So I originally booked that call with, I think, Kevin.
Hmm.
I've kind of it had some calls with Kevin and Roanne kind of throughout the journey at different points in time, just looking for some guidance. And at that point in time, I was booking with Kevin to say, "Hey, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about opening up this new business, a new one in my home city. What do you think?" Fortunately for me, Vic showed up as well, and kind of offered some guidance that was much needed at the time.
And so you named your cleaning company. What?
Columbus Cleaning Service.
And you told Google exactly what you do and where you do it in the
Yep.
simplest way possible. And then Jenna now gets involved, right? Because before this, Jenna, you were working as what?
So, Cliff Note version of my backstory, I was an orthopedic PA, so a physician assistant, right hand person. Like, if you don't know what that is, like if you go to your doctor's office, you see me usually instead of your doctor or surgeon. And then I was in surgery doing hip and knee replacements. I was also coaching college soccer at the time. That was through 2022. So I left my career. I catapulted this whole like let's turn our life 180 at the end of 2022. And I can share as much of that as you want or as little, but I left that career and like our very traditional life at the end of 2022 very abruptly, as like people would say, or boldly, courageously. You can spin it however you want. And that was at the end of 2022. And I had started my coaching and consulting business. That was very broad mentorship and speaking across the country. And then 6 months later, honestly, this guy left his teaching career because it was kind of to us a very much of we desired a different cadence of life that I loved being an orthopedic PA and college soccer coach. But as parents of young kids and just what we desired in life, it just wasn't conducive to our careers anymore. But we don't regret them, right? They made us who we are. They make us great business owners right now, and all the businesses that we own and we run together. But yeah, I mean, life looks very, very different for us than it did a couple years ago.
Okay, so I want to get more into that because I love that. And I think that a lot of people, when they stumble across this, similar, I mean, really the same as Isaac did or as my sister did, and you, Jenna, it's a bit of a career change, but you might not necessarily know that that's the direction you're going to go in, right? So it starts as a bit of a side hustle, and then it can go into like, I'm all in. And it's not just this business, it's multiple businesses, you said. And I
Yeah.
love that because for me, and I think this is probably similar to you, it's actually about time. It's
Yes.
about ownership of our time and what we do with our time and what impact we have on the world as a result of freeing up our lives from these 9 to 5 jobs. Or in your case, I'm assuming it wasn't really 9 to 5, but
Yeah.
40-hour a week, 50, 60, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I go back to cadence of life, it's like things when you say time freedom, you can't put a price on that, right? You can't put a value. We wouldn't, in our a career as a PA and a school teacher, we would never have walked our kids to school. It's wild to think that, right? Like never. I would have never been able to pick up my children from school. I would have rarely been able to go on field trips or be room parent, which I've been. He wouldn't be able to go on any field trips or anything because of his schedule. So you talk about time, freedom, like we're in this world that everybody wants this freedom, but freedom has to be defined based off what that means to you. For us, it's really the time. We wanted our time to be able to spend towards our top priorities with each other, right? And you don't get that back. And we saw through me taking that leap at the end of 2022, we saw there were so many opportunities out there to make money, provide for your family, and there's an and, it doesn't have to be either or, like an and have the cadence of life that we desired. And we believed in ourselves and we believe that, with God and on each other, like we could figure anything out. And what we'll get into is we have skills that complement each other. And so not only do we have businesses separate from each other, like him as real estate agent, us in investing, me and my coaching and consulting, but why we're here, the cleaning company, it was kind of like, wow, people kept telling us, like, you guys have skills that like are perfect business partner skills. And I'm excited to get into that today because it's something that I don't think a lot of people normalize, or they're like, I don't want to be business partners with my spouse. But we love spending time together. And it's actually been a really beautiful strengthening of our relationship. And we've had a lot of success in business because of it.
Okay, so let's get into it. So what are the skills that you think each of you brings to the table in this partnership?
Mm. Yeah. So I've
And actually, hang on, I'm going to do it this way. Jenna, you tell me about Isaac. Isaac, you tell me about Jenna. This is going to be fun.
I love that. Yeah. So I don't know if you're familiar with Enneagram, but there's tons of things out there that you can get to know yourself better. And we did a lot of getting to know ourselves individually better, and then our partner better. Because for as great a relationship as we have, and as great we've been communicating through our 17 years together, there were definitely some things that we realized as we dove into getting to know Enneagram, human design, whatever you want to choose, right? That it's like, oh, that's why he operates the way he does, right? In an argument or in life.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so when you talk about skills, Isaac is an Enneagram 5. If you don't know, look it up. I highly recommend looking into the Enneagram, but he's very cerebral. So, like in a conversation, I mean, he was a math major. He's like brilliant. He's somebody that you sit with, like at a dinner table, and somebody's like gives you a problem or they're wanting to figure something out, and his brain, I see it, she's like, and he like spits something out, and I'm like, what in the actual world just happened in your brain? But he's very cerebral. He's very analytical. He's very numbers and like
Mhm.
systems and spreadsheets, and that's his strength. I mean, his organization's insane, um, and he's just uber smart, like intelligent. And so, like, I mean, there's so many things about him, but from a business side of why this works in the cleaning company, like that's him. He's a genius that has organization, and his brain is wide. It is wicked. And so from a business standpoint, I mean, spreadsheets, numbers, analytical systems, like, please give me him because I'm not good at any of that.
Perfect.
But what she is really good at is connecting with people and relationships. And it is amazing when she either is meeting somebody for the first time or sitting down for like she's very good at getting into a heartfelt conversation, but
Mhm.
she can, I don't even know what the right verb is. I don't think there is a verb that describes it. See, feel, experience someone's heart unlike anybody I've ever seen before. Like
Mm.
she literally like sees that person in a very odd, like I said, I don't know if there's necessarily a verb to describe it, but she is able to feel someone else's heart in a really incredible way. And so from the cleaning business, the relationships side of things for the business in Columbus. So Chicago, I was running on my own,
Yeah.
right? And when we started Columbus, Jenna really stepped in and kind of took a larger role in that. And so the relationships that she's developed with our cleaners is amazing because those cleaners feel connected. They feel
Yep.
like they belong. They feel like Columbus Cleaning Service is their business as well,
Mm.
right? And I think that's an amazing thing when you have cleaners that are bought into your success. It's an amazing thing, and I think that kind of goes back to with our coaching backgrounds
Mm.
and getting players to buy into a larger goal. Been able to, and Jenna mentioned this, some of the skills that we developed and learned along the way and our other experiences have really incorporated into our business as well. And so from the cleaner perspective, having them buy in and see the vision and feel a part of it is really, really important. And then obviously the customer side of things as well. Jenna checks in and I don't know, develops relationships with clients that I am not that they're not my wheelhouse, right? I would have to try very, very hard. It would come out probably pretty awkward. Jenna makes it very natural,
Mhm.
uh, and easy.
Well, thank you. That was kind. Vic, do you mind if I add something to that? Just why he made a point of it?
Yeah.
There's something the cleaning company has given us,
Mhm.
provided us that I never imagined. Besides the income, right? The financial foundation
Yep.
is a way to live in our purpose and impact and serve other people and be part of something bigger than ourselves that I never would have imagined, right? You don't grow up and it's like, hey, what do you want to do when you're older? I want to be a CEO of a cleaning company, right? Nobody says that. If you do, okay, well, you're a rare gem at
And
that.
you're in the right place. You found
But
Yeah.
but what I do really, what we both wanted was to be something, part of something bigger than ourselves, right? We always have this like philanthropic like vision for us. So to be able to provide work for human beings that maybe there's a barrier, whether that's like a verbal barrier, like language, or it's a appearance barrier in the world that we live in, or whatever that is, right? That maybe they're not feeling valued or giving an opportunity in other settings to be able to provide that for them and love them and compensate them well and share our vision with them and allow them to feel again part of it, because what I always say to our cleaners is like, we are a team.
Mhm.
We can't do this without you.
Yep.
You know, like, and we have systems and skill sets. You go back to skills. Well, they have skills that complement ours. They're brilliant cleaners, right? And it just and we say that to our clients, our commercial clients. Like, this is something bigger than just cleaning. Like our Airbnbs that we clean, right? Staging is big. That the reviews are huge. It's
Yep.
like it's all part of something so much bigger. It's not just cleaning. Cleaning's great and cleaning companies are great, but you can frame this like it's such a beautiful opportunity to impact lives and to be part of something bigger than yourself.
I love that so much. And I think a lot of that comes back to when Rohan taught all of us how to do this, and we're now paying it forward by doing this YouTube channel. It's the 60-40 split, right? So paying your cleaners 60% of the total that you charge the client means the cleaners get paid more than they're used to getting. They get treated as an actual member of your cleaning company, not an employee. They're an independent contractor. They own their own time. They get to say when they don't want to work, when they do want to work. And we actually respect that and value it, right?
Yeah.
And so then you built this foundation. I totally get it, Jenna. I felt exactly the same way. Like, I kept my own cleaning business secret for about a year because I told a few people when we were first starting out and they laughed. And I was like, you know what? I don't need anyone else's validation. First off, I'm going to do this thing on my own and I'm going to buy in because I've seen everyone else's stories and I'm like, I can do that too. So I'm just going to do it with Jen and we're going to keep it secret. And then when we've had some success, we'll share it. Right. But what was crazy is we didn't know just how proud we would be of the people we work with. You know, at the end of every day, I always say my favorite part of my day is when I pay my cleaners. It's
Oh
my
yeah.
favorite part of my day.
Yeah. I have
And
a cleaner right now, sorry, that she's having car trouble and she's amazing. Like such a sweet human being and she's really come in like she's so reliable. She does great work, but she's so reliable.
yeah,
And she says to me weekly, I tell my daughter how blessed I am to work for you. Like I'm so grateful for this. She really is, right? But she's having car trouble right now. So she's trying to finagle. She used her daughter's car this morning to do some cleanings or whatever. I sent her $100.
mm,
It means something to her. She's fixing
huge.
her tire. Hopefully it covers that, right? And you know what? This isn't why I do it, but she's going to do more quality work and stay with us longevity. I think that's where the corporate world misses it.
Yep.
Corporate world's like, "Oh, well, you're replaceable." Oh, well, like, okay, I value people that like are doing a great work for us, and we hope that as we grow our vision in our company, they're growing with us and they feel that growth and they want to expand with us. That works for both sides.
It's a lot
100%.
more expensive to replace a cleaner than it is to keep them. If it costs us $100 every now and then to like keep this cleaner and make her feel valued,
Mhm.
it's a lot cheaper than it would cost to to go through go through our systems and find better ones or find good.
100%. And I'll add on to that. We had a cleaner yesterday who texted me and said, She cleans a 1 bedroom, 1 bath. I think it's every 2 weeks for this client. The client's a little bit fussy, but really nice. And so the cleaning itself costs, I think, 129 or 139. Like, it's not a very expensive clean. And Brianna, the cleaner, texted me and she said, that client just gave me $100 tip today. And I was like, $100 bucks? That's like almost the cost of her cleaning.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, she said, I'm not losing you anytime soon. And I do Halloween, I don't do Christmas. So, and she was like, yes, like, so, and then I paid the cleaner. She had, I think, a $329 day. She's one of those rare cleaners that can do 3 jobs, back to back. We usually just do two, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. This cleaner doesn't have kids. Her boyfriend was working late. So she was like, yeah, bring it on. I'll do 3 cleans today. So I pay her over $300. She gets a $100 tip. Like, that is a good life, people. No matter what background you have, that's a good chunk of cash for one day's work for anyone. Right.
Mhm.
And so I think there's been this misconception, certainly for the three of us, if not anyone else listening to this who maybe has, a higher education level, that cleaning isn't something valuable as a skill. And actually, holy shit, you guys, like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it gets paid really well and it deserves to be respected and treated well.
Amen.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. So how do you break down your business responsibilities then? To me, it seems fairly obvious. Isaac, you must do the books, and Jenna, you must do customer service and the cleaner relationships. But do I have that right? Is that how you guys handle it?
Yeah, and I think that that's really important. If you're, I mean, partnership in general, right? But like we even do this with life,
Mm.
home tasks, but business wise for the cleaning business, I kind of taken over everything that's face value and like communicative and relational. Then he's still in the back end of like systems. Like he still has like the invoices. He still looks at like SEO or like talks to, Daniel with you guys are like people, and he's keeping the systems and the website and the back end like afloat and keeping us innovative in that aspect that we're like up on Google search and things like that,
Mm.
where I'm the one that talks to the cleaners. I'm the one that's texting clients and cleaners. I'm the one that's going doing site visits or home visits to meet face to face. I'm the one that's getting on the phone calls. I'm the one that's doing the payouts or the bonuses. I'm the pulse of the day to day and the heartbeat of the business. And he's very much again the brain and the systems. But where we come together beautifully is the vision piece, and that's like in any partnership. I guess one of my like bullet points is really to commit to those regular business meetings, and we can get better at this. But it's like you sit down and you have a very like specific agenda and you say, okay, like where are we numbers wise? Where are we systems wise? Where are we relational wise? And all these things. Okay, what can we do to adapt, or do we just keep on keeping on? And that's super important in any partnership. I think about like relationship or business, to have those regular meetings that you're very focused. And those are like the first two in my like bullet points. Told you I always love to give it away takeaways, but like the power of partnership, running it together in a business is the first one was define the clear roles and responsibilities. That goes back to your skill sets and your strengths. The second one is commit to regular business meetings because that can get lost, especially if you're in it with your partner, like your spouse. You can just think that it's assumed, and you don't want to assume anything in any relationship or partnership.
I love that. Okay, so let's get into numbers then, because I was working with Isaac one on one, Jenna, before I got to meet you. And he would tell me a lot about you. But at that time, he was mostly doing it on his own. And frankly, Isaac, it was not the easiest for you, right? So let's reflect back on maybe about around 6 months ago, I think it was, where you were all numbers. And one of the things I loved about working with you is that you would analyze the crap out of any, numbers test we ran. So when you were trying out Google Ads or Google Local Services or Bark or Thumbtack or whatever, it was always numbers with you. And
Always.
it took you a minute to go, I need Jenna. So I want to talk about that process a little bit, and I want to get deeper into the actual numbers. So what were you billing monthly before bringing Jenna in? And what are you billing now that Jenna's all in on the customer service side of things and the cleaner side of things?
Like time frame too, like when we
Yeah.
started.
We officially opened in Columbus around April. I
Okay.
think we took our first booking in early April of this year.
2024.
Of this year.
2024.
Okay.
So about 6 months ago. And it just so happened to kind of coincide with a shift in Jenna's business as well,
Okay.
where the social media and being face forward and on camera all the time, she was ready for a little bit of a break from.
Yep.
So the cleaning business, even though she's still very much the face of the cleaning business or the voice of the cleaning business, maybe she's still very interactive with our customers, with our cleaners, but it doesn't feel as she has to be on. Is that
What he's alluding to is I was traveling once or twice a month to speak at events all over the country. And I was on Instagram and podcasts and communities and Zoom every day. Like I was a very energy forward me. Like that's coaching and consulting and speaking and podcasting for a living, right?
Totally.
So that's what he's alluding to there. I wanted to, we're pregnant with our third child, like expecting our third child. We have two young kids. Like
Yep.
I wanted to really come just like be mom, be wife, be for a little bit without having to like just be so much in the limelight. So sorry, numbers.
Yeah, so that kind of coincided very naturally that in probably June is when you really start, would you say that's accurate? When you really started like running a lot of the cleaning business?
Yeah, maybe even a little bit later than that because I wanted to take the summer kind of off. So I
Yeah.
eased into it through like June and really kind of fully took on. I would say even more so like mid July.
Okay.
So I would say at that point, when we'd been in business for about 3 months, we were probably maybe 3,000 a month
Yeah, I think we were like
in revenue.
3,000. We were around like 3,000, 3,500 at the max when I came on.
Okay.
And
And this is still a side hustle. It's just, a little bit of profit for you guys, not a ton, but a little bit.
Yeah, we have not
and
expanded into like really the commercial side or like it really had a vision of like expanding this cleaning business because I was still coaching and consulting. He was really into real estate.
Yeah.
And we were just like, again, this cleaning company is just this cleaning company.
Yeah.
it was nice. Yeah, it was a nice little side income. And I think when Jenna kind of came on, it was with the different vision of, hey, maybe this could like be our source of income that pays for our daily bills, right? This is the income that is like our foundation of our household um, financial pyramid, and then anything else that we bring in from real estate or coaching or anything else is just kind of icing on the
Mhm.
cake. That's kind of what our vision has become. So we're around 3,000 after say 3 months, and during October, I actually just ran these numbers this morning. During October, we did 11,000 in revenue. During November, so today is November 1st. For the month of November, we currently have 5,500 already booked, which is but wild to me. When I saw that number, I'm like, that's really cool. For the next 7 days, we already have 3,000 booked.
Ah.
So in 3 months, we've gone from 3,000 revenue in a month. Now we're 3,000 revenue in a week.
And so when you do your projections, and I know, Isaac, you're doing that, what are your projections looking like for, the next year or whatever? Like, can you see the numbers? Can you see how it will grow?
Our goal is 50,000 in revenue within the first 12 months. So by next April, we want to be at 50,000 in revenue. We just started doing some short-term rentals that are going to significantly boost the revenue line. It's going to be a little bit more work, a little bit more organization. Going to have to adjust our systems a little bit, but definitely it's going to be very, very manageable. And yeah, I think 50,000 revenue is definitely within the realm of possibility at this point.
I think to that point, and I know he's talked to you about this, Vic. Like when we get into commercial, like apartment complexes, offices, or we get in with property management companies, which we just got or established a relationship with, which is the Airbnbs. I have 26 here in Columbus, and they're like higher end Airbnbs. We're very clear about not jumping into that just as a yes, because of a business standpoint, but really heavy on the relationship and core value of like, this is something that we want to be a part of. You go back to, again, their vision. So the apartment complexes and the property management companies, we don't want a lot of them. We want to go deep with them, and we're very clear to them in that. Like, we want to go depth in this relationship, right? Rather us go build a relationship with another property management and another. That's just not how we operate as humans. And so when we met with this property management company, we did not have on our radar to do Airbnbs, but we knew there was value in it from friends that have Airbnbs and know what they pay their cleaners. But we were like, oh my gosh, these people are amazing. So we actually believed in the people, not necessarily the business side. And it's a beautiful partnership because the woman that I walked with, she was like saying things like our core values, our vision, our mission. Like we were like, wait, what? People don't say these things. She's like, I was in this mastermind. I'm like, you know what mastermind are? This is fascinating because like those are just things that you're like, yes, green light. That's who I want to be in life with. And it happens to be, oh, we have this business collaboration or partnership that will work out and benefit us both. And also a great opportunity for our cleaners that want that kind of work. But we clearly define it to them. And I say, if you are part of this relationship with this property management company, know that maybe it doesn't look like per clean you make as much, but if you do, if you're reliable and you help us go deep with this relationship that means a lot to us, I will give you bonuses. That is my word to you, and I've already done that because it matters.
It does matter. It matters. People always ask, what should we give our cleaners? I'm always like, money. Like
Yeah.
money. It's always money. You don't have to go out and buy flowers or gifts. Like those are lovely. What do they need? Money.
Mhm.
And that's what they value the most because of the fact that money is what they need to fix their car or to
Yeah,
do their kids' teeth or whatever, right? That actually has such a huge impact on them. So those bonuses go really far.
for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the fact that you guys are all in on 50K a month because as you know, our Millionaire Mastermind, which is free to join, is for anybody within our Convert Labs community that is billing 50K a month or beyond and is ready to then meet once a month. And it's so great. We've got a couple members here watching. And that's all we do. We just talk about, okay, what's next level? And the values piece, Jenna, you're gonna love this so much. It comes back every single month. We all come back to what are we grateful for? How are we giving to the world? Cecilia and Blake just did a mission, where they went away from their business for a few days in order to give back. And they were just blown away by how impactful that was on their lives and then on their business, right? And these are the kinds of things that I don't think anybody thinks about when they're starting a cleaning company. But
Mhm.
actually, this is the greatest part of what we do now.
And I'll elaborate too on that goal. We kind of worked backwards. We know what our monthly expenses are and our household expenses are.
Yep.
And we say, okay, well, what's our revenue in our cleaning business based on our current profit margin? What does our revenue need to look like in order to cover those expenses?
Yeah.
I really, and I think this is very valuable because it's very easy to just try to grow and grow and grow and grow. And Jenna's in a mastermind currently with some women who are very curious about the cleaning business, even though they own these 7, 8 figure businesses. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that at all.
Yeah, just a like glimpse into that. It's really interesting how the craze of boring businesses is like now. People are like leaning in, like, oh, what are these boring businesses? Cleaning companies, HVAC companies, like all these things,
Mhm.
because it's not the hustle, it's not the upfront cost, it's not the everyday, like, oh my gosh, I'm in Belize on vacation, but I'm actually not in Belize. I'm actually on Zoom. Um, and I'm in a mastermind with 7 to 9 figure female business owners, and we all have kids under the age of 12. And I got in it to expand my coaching and consulting. Jokes on me. I didn't know it was going to be to expand a cleaning company and also like be insightful to these women that are exhausted. They're burnt out and they're like,
Exactly.
tell me about this cleaning company. What? And like, they
Mhm.
want to know more. And again, you said something that brought me to like when I'm thinking of the power of the partnership. I keep going back to that, right? Is that like third really point to me is like leveraging your shared visions and your values. And kind of what I had or I think about in that is using your shared top priorities. So like for us, it is, God, family, and service, right? We always go back to our relationship with God, our presence and relationship with one another, Isaac and I, and our children, like within these walls, and then our service to other people. And so making sure that as a foundation for our business decisions that it aligns with those values. And if it does, it's like green light. If it doesn't, well, we got to go to the drawing board and really decide if we want to move on.
Yep. I totally get that. Yep.
And I think too, because so many people start this cleaning business with the idea of this time freedom, right?
Mm.
And if you're growing to 200, 300,000 revenue, like you're not going to have the time freedom. I met with a guy last week who owned a cleaning business, mostly commercial. I think they were doing 200,000 a month, but it was a job. Like he was working 50, 60 hours a week. Like that's not what my cleaning business is for. I'm not trying to grow it to that scale. I don't need it to be that scale. And I
Or
think,
want it.
or want it to be that scale. So I think we would lose the relationship, first of all, right? The relationship side of things and the relationships we have with our cleaners would be less. It just doesn't fit what we have for our vision and what we need the cleaning business to do or be.
Yeah, we say this a lot on this channel, not creating a cleaning company to replace your day job with another day job. That's not the point. I mean, it can be, and certainly I did it. My first year, I spun my wheels. I filled my time, you guys, with just complete and total nonsense. And my sister is my business partner, and thank God for her because she's able to go, "Hey, you're making work for yourself." And it's almost like the nature of the entrepreneur. It's the nature of the hustle culture that we need to be busy, and if we're not busy, we're not of worth. And it took a while, but now I'm fully in on I am worthy. I don't need to fill an entire day in order to be worthy. I can have chill days, and in fact, my chill days are when I get the best ideas. And so, in a way, it's like clearing your calendar, not having it all blocked off, right? And actually giving yourself space to think. It's the greatest gift that Rohan, who taught you guys through Twitter, Jen through Twitter, he's done it on Reddit, and now we're doing it on the YouTube channel. That is our gift to you. It's time
It's
to think.
re-regulating your nervous system though, Vic. Like, I mean, we're all like these people that are like, let's go, let's do this. Like, give me something and I'm gonna crush it. And like, it's something that I'm working on every day is like to re-regulate my nervous system to say, hey, you don't have to hustle and overwork, burn yourself out to make money or be quote unquote successful, because that's a definition of its own per
Yeah.
person. But it's totally a rewiring, a reprogramming, a re-regulating. But once you're there, it's like, wow. Like literally, I
Never
feel
going
like
back.
feel uplifted. Exactly. And you're never going back. We used to live, Isaac always said, like, I used to live, I can't do that because I'm a teacher. Like I can't do that because I have to be at work. I used to say I can't do that because I have to get up at 5 a.m. for surgery. You know, it's like, what? You can't do what you actually desire to do in this one life that we're given here on earth because okay, well, there's a lot of opportunities out here, cleaning companies in itself, which is what we're talking about, that will give you the avenue, the vehicle to have the cadence of life that you desire. And that's it.
And I think it's a complete rewiring. Like at least Jen and I were so programmed in that 9 to 5, like 40-hour a week W-2 job. And she mentioned that when we first left, like we did a lot of like inner work, figuring out who we are, what we're good at, because it is scary as hell when you go from somebody telling you, here's what I want you to do 40 hours a week, to all of a sudden, no one's telling you what to do. You don't have to do anything. You do it literally whatever you want, right? Fill your time, make as much money as you want, do it how you want to do it. But it's very scary. And I think knowing who you are, what your skill set is, can be a great roadmap for how you're going to spend your time and your energy.
And I also think it's doing something every day, something, something small. It doesn't have to be huge, but checking on your Google ads or checking on your client, whatever. So something every day in the direction of the bigger picture.
Mhm.
Right. And you guys can see the bigger picture because you're part of this community. You talk to me, you talk to others. And Isaac, what I love is recently you've been talking about how if you meet new people and you tell them I'm a realtor and I own a cleaning company, what is the insight you get from that
Oh
conversation?
my gosh, everyone wants to talk about the cleaning business. Nobody cares at all about real estate. They might say like, "Hey, how's the market?" But they're just making conversation. They don't really care.
No.
But man, people are genuinely intrigued when you say you own a cleaning business. It is wild. It's led to some of the most interesting conversations.
I've had the exact same experience. Now that I tell people, And they're always like, "Wait, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll explain it to you."
Yeah.
And I think a part of that is because I go to the gym every day, I go to yoga every day or the gym. So there's always that physical health piece in my life now. I do meet a lot of different people from different walks of life that do different things. And a lot of them, what they complain about is their day job. And they don't call it a day job, it's their job. And getting to the gym is a struggle. And they see me there and I'm like, "Hey." you know? And then I explain, "Oh, I own a cleaning company." And they're like, "How are you, huh?" And it's always the greatest conversation to explain the time freedom piece that this business has given us. Okay. If you were to meet someone, so let's imagine you're at a party, you've met someone, they're maybe complaining a bit about their job or whatever, and they ask you, what advice would you give if they wanted to start a cleaning company today? What would you say?
I would say find other people who are doing the same, find a community of like-minded individuals. That was one of the things that, like I said, I was booking that call with Kevin, knowing that I was starting my second business. I already done it once, right? But
Mhm.
I also knew that I still had blind spots. I had done it once. I had made some of the mistakes. I knew what they were, but I knew that I still had blind spots. And so I think being willing to reach out for help and talk to people who are doing the same thing, who've made the same mistakes, just to accelerate the runway. I think that could I have done it on my own? Could we currently be at 11,000 monthly revenue in our business? Yes, but it probably would have taken me about twice as long, right? I just shortened the amount of time by talking to some of these people who gave me suggestions that I could have made that mistake and learned that lesson on my own. But I had someone there, like, literally telling me how to do it, and so I didn't have to go through that process of making the mistakes and the frustration of making the mistakes also.
I think you were, at least I was, right? I can speak for myself, like prideful, or they have this ego that's like, I'm smart, I can do it. Yes, you can, and yes, you are, but you don't have to do it alone. You're not, sorry, you're not doing anything for the first time. Like nobody does it. We're in 2024. It has been done before. Not to say that you're going to do it differently. You're going to put your spin on it, right? You can do it better. Fine. But you're not doing it for the first time. So why not, to Isaac's point, he said it, right? Condense time, because we know that's what we're going for, is the time freedom. It's the one thing we can't get back. It's what we always desire. It's when you're on your deathbed, you want more time, right? And so condense time, get around people, ask questions. Don't be too prideful. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And then also know your skill set and strengths. You go back to what we talked about in the beginning. It's like, Isaac was very analytical. You said it. He was very numbers. He also saw there was a ceiling to his skill set in growing this company. And he happened to look in the family room and say, okay, well, I have somebody that has a complementary skill sets. But to that point, that would be what I would add to that, is like, obviously ask for help, right? Get mentorship, get community around it, get the great systems, right? Figure out what the greatest systems are for that by asking people. That's all part of it. And also, do not try to literally do the business alone. Make sure you identify your strengths and systems and either delegate by bringing on a partner or bringing in people to do those things. And your ceiling is going to be so much higher.
And kind of add on to that too, I think there are lots of different ways to build this cleaning business, right? If you look around at everyone in the community, they're doing the same things, but they're doing it a different way. And so I think recognizing what your strengths are and leaning into those strengths as you're building the business. As an analytical systems type person, that's the sort of business that I built in Chicago. That's the sort of business that I started in Columbus. But like Jenna said, there's a plateau to what you can do on your own, right? And I kind of hit that plateau in Chicago, which is why I'm interested in selling it. But I sensed the same thing in Columbus as well, that I wasn't going to be able to do this alone. I needed some of those complementary skills in order to take it to the next level.
The other two things I would add is never underestimate, like, just being kind, right? Like valuing people. And so like when you start a cleaning company, like the cleaners that you bring on, you talk about delegating, right? That's like two are huge,
Mhm.
and that you really share your vision and allow them to be part of something, again, that's greater than just cleaning or greater than just themselves or the title that they're cleaning for. And the more you can get people to buy in and feel valued and cared for and compensate them well, like that's life to me. Life is relationships and love and like people feeling valued and you shutting your mouth and listening to people and actually hearing them and being able to then provide or give their feedback there. But like that is a piece that I don't think very many people say in business or say enough in business, cleaning company or not.
Okay, I'm gonna circle back to that because there's I'm gonna put it on my pinky finger. This is how I remember because there's a couple things in there that I definitely want to talk about. But I also just want to say you guys have such a wonderful way of being together. And I love having you both here together because I've spent so much time one on one with Isaac. And Isaac, I don't know if you remember this, but when you were first starting out, well, I'll just say it. So 90, something like 91% of viewers of this YouTube channel are men. And within the Convert Labs community, which is the software that we all use to run our cleaning companies, and when Isaac and Jenna were talking about community, it's attached to the Convert Labs community. So you can sign up for Convert Labs below with that link if you're interested. That's everything is in there. But the majority of the people in that community are also men. And as a woman business owner myself, when I was first starting out, I had no idea. Like I was like, all right, this guy Rohan, this other guy Kevin, like they're showing us how to do it. Okay, cool. And then I go in there and I'm like, huh. And it took me a minute. But now I know what I know, which is that the majority of these businesses are owned by men. And yet the majority of the cleaners in the residential space are women. And I know you probably know this, Isaac, from your Google Analytics. The majority of your clients looking for cleaning services for their homes are women. 2024, this is still reality, you guys, in North America, like, and probably everywhere else in the world. So there's an interesting kind of gender thing happening here. Can you maybe speak to that, either or both of you?
I go back to our coaching careers, right? And it goes to this partnership too. I coached females
Yeah.
for 14 years. Isaac has coached boys and girls. Well, when he coached females, I said to him very like sternly, like, you need a female on your staff, right? It's not that men aren't capable, right, of coaching, but there's a barrier in the depth of connection that they can have or the relatability that they could have with young women, right? So that's coaching. But you even take it to this cleaning company relating to people. I do think it's actually important to have both, not just like have a female. Female's very important, right? But you talk about we do have men that right or wrong, right? Wrong. It's wrong. Actually, that want to communicate with men, and it's like, fine, cool. But I'm also gonna sit at the table and like show you that I'm freaking smart and like I have something to offer. And then I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But with that said, there's a softer side of communication that I have than Isaac does. It doesn't mean he's not a great person. He doesn't have a great heart, and I know that, right? I know that because I love the man I married him. But when he texts or when he talks on the phone, it feels different. Not does it sound different, not does it look different. It feels different. And what I know, what we all know is like that's what matters. Like we've heard the whole perception is reality, but it's really how the person feels. Why we got the contract with the property management company is because Taylor, the woman, cold called us. It's how she felt talking to another mom. We both had two boys. My boys were crazy in the background. I was just real like, hey, sorry, they're playing Nintendo, super loud in the back. I had two kids. She's like, oh my gosh, I have two kids too. We felt a connection. She cold called a dozen cleaning companies. That to me, not just like if Isaac was on the phone, would we have gotten it? I don't know. Is he more or less capable? No. But it is. It's about the feeling of a woman talking to a woman that unfortunately a man just doesn't have, nor does man to man versus woman to man, right? It's
Totally.
a different relatability and feeling that they have.
It makes me think back to my teaching days. There's a big difference in teaching boys versus teaching girls.
Hmm.
Boys have this very much like false bravado, like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Of course I can. And the girls are they're more likely, right? The female students are more likely to be very hesitant to put answers down that they're not certain of. So I think in terms of like starting the cleaning business, I think that that might be some explanation of why you see more men starting the business. Um,
100%.
Growing it and being successful, I think, is what Jenna just pointed at, and some of the skills that are needed. I just, yeah, Jenna's much softer and more personable on the phone. I'm very matter of fact. I'm a mathematician, right? I literally am a mathematician. Like, so it's gonna be very matter of fact. That's how I speak, and I've come a long way, and that's something I'm
Yeah.
working on. But yeah,
Listen, I'm the same as you in so many ways, and that's why I use ChatGPT, Isaac, because I'll say like I need you to soft because I as you know I can just say it, and I'm like, oh right, I'm not supposed to do that. I have to.
it's an Enneagram 8.
But to that point, yes. And but I've also learned like there used to be this thing where it's like figure out your weaknesses and try to get better. And I don't believe that
No, me
anymore.
neither.
Right? It's like know your strengths and skills and hone in and go all in on them, and then find somebody or somebody's people that complement your strengths and your skills and run with them.
Yeah.
So he doesn't
Exactly.
have to be soft and communicative. Like stay in his zone of genius and I'll stay in mine. I'm not learning spreadsheets anytime soon. Okay. Like analytical. I'm going to keep my notepad in my pen and I'm just going to roll with it. That is so important. Like you don't have to be anybody that you're not, but you do need to find people that complement you.
I love that, and I also really want to say to anybody listening to this, Jenna mentioned, having kids screaming in the background in this space. That's actually a good thing. Okay, so there's no apologies needed. That's who's calling you, asking you for help in
Yeah.
their home. So
Yes.
the majority of our clients are working parents. They need help at home. They're outsourcing to us. We're solving their problem, which is a very simple problem that unfortunately has not been simple for them to solve. And so we are providing them with a great solution, which is cleaners that know what they're doing, who show up, they get the job done right. Why do they do that? Because we treat them well.
Yeah. Yeah, and you go back to relatability, it's like, "Oh, like, she gets me." Or, like, the moms that I'm texting, the clients, and they're like, "I have nap time 1 to 3." I'm like, "I get it. I get it." Right? And they're like, "Oh, great." Like, you can just be you. Like, we try too hard to be these business people or these cleaning people.
We
Like,
don't need to.
just be you. Like,
Mhm.
all elements of you. I'm a big believer of that, like, show it all.
I love that, and clients do really care about that, and cleaners really care about that as well. They want to connect with a human being, and also AI. Let's talk a little bit about how there are a few industries that are not going to change anytime soon as a result of AI. And I know in the teaching space, certainly, for us, Isaac, and myself, it probably isn't going to affect teaching very soon or surgeries very soon. But there's a lot of people that are searching for these companies because they're like, my job's going to disappear.
Yeah.
So what can I do instead? And this is a space that's pretty safe because human beings still have to do cleaning as much as we all want a robot to do it for us. We haven't figured that out yet. Everybody who owns a Roomba also owns a vacuum cleaner and needs a human being to push the vacuum cleaner.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, so we're almost out of time. Any last bits? And then I do want to open it up to the floor because we've got a few people here as well. Thank you guys for being patient. I think this conversation has just been so good. But any last tips, tricks, things you wish you had known?
We didn't talk about selling the business. Do you want to talk
Oh, thank you. Let's talk about that.
about? Yeah, sorry. You want to ask the question, then you can
Nah,
this.
go for it.
Okay. I think
People are
one of the
used to me now.
really interesting things that I mentioned it earlier is that I sensed that Chicago, my business in Chicago, the one that I started first, which has been open for about 2 years now, had hit a plateau, and I think part of that was not being local. There were obstacles that I needed to overcome that I think they are solvable. I didn't have the time and energy to solve them. Like Google knows I'm not in Chicago. As much as I try to hide it, as much as it is a Chicago business, Google knows. And so like literally if you if I Google cleaning companies in Columbus, Ohio, about third or fourth page down, my Chicago business is showing up. I'm like,
Oh,
what
shit.
in the world? It's why. It's
Oops.
because if they know I'm here, right?
Yeah.
Even though my service area on Google is set up in Chicago, they still know So I've never used anything like a VPN or anything like that. Like there are ways to trick Google that I'm not, it don't come naturally to me. I don't know how to do that right away. And I didn't have the time and energy to put in to figuring that out. I also think one of the big benefits of being in Columbus rather than being in Chicago, like the local groups, some of those local organic groups that Jen and I happen to be PTO, things like that, that are naturally bringing in clients that obviously I don't have in operating a remote business. And then, like Jenna said, with like meeting somebody on site and creating that relationship, making them feel comfortable with you is obviously much different running a remote business rather than running one,
Mm.
that's more local. So I recognized that I was hitting that plateau, and then it was going to take a lot more. And the return on investment wasn't going to be more. It's going to require more energy, more time in order to keep that incremental growth. And so I kind of got to the point where I'm like, okay, look, I need to first of all figure out how much this thing is worth and see whether it's even worth selling. Right now, I spend on the Chicago business 2 or 3 hours a week, and it brings in $3,000 a month in revenue. So it's fine, right? But it feels like a ripe piece of fruit on the vine that's going to eventually die if I don't pick it. And so I went in and started looking at like valuations and things. I posted it on one of the business sell websites.
Yep.
And so right now it's been posted for about 2 weeks. I'm hoping to sign papers literally today for the sale of that business. So it'll be really interesting to kind of see it. I think it'll be a little bit, I don't know if emotional is the right word, but like 2 years ago, I started this business as a sandbox experiment and to grow it into something that I'm like, okay, here you go. It's not mine anymore.
But the cool thing is too, he's selling it to brothers that are, one of them is local to Chicago. So it's again, you put like pulling the heartstrings, like that's who you want to sell it to. Like they're in a partnership together of these brothers. They want to do all the things that we're talking about. One's local, we know that they can, and then Isaac and I can support them in the start of that journey. Like amazing.
I love that. And I think a lot of people, when they think about starting a cleaning company, they hear the words remote local service business. Okay. And Jenna, you spoke about it before. It can be landscaping, it can be HVAC, it can be window washing, whatever. Residential cleaning is often the first one people go in on because it has less of a barrier to entry. You don't have to buy supplies, your cleaners bring their own. The insurance is fairly straightforward. It's all fairly straightforward. You don't have to learn as much. And your cleaners don't need big trucks and big equipment. Anyway, but the other thing that they hear is they hear the words remote, and then they immediately think different location than my own. Now, Isaac, you stumbled across something. You got really lucky in that Google let you start your cleaning company 2 years ago in a different location. Today, and moving into 2025, it is very difficult to do that because they know where you are and they know all these people are trying to do this, and a lot of these businesses fail because they there's no easy way to say it, but they half-ass it because they hear this is easy money, and then they do very little effort, and then cleaners don't show, they get terrible reviews, and then they disappear. That's my thinking. I don't know Google, but if I was Google, I'd be like, get out of here. Whereas if you're local, you're gonna have an easier run of it because, like these guys said, you know your local communities, you know your neighborhoods. There's no reason to have to do this in a different location than your own.
Well, you go to numbers, Vic, right? Like he's had golden goal in Chicago for 2 years. The revenue for that's 3,000 a month. We've had our Columbus cleaning where we're local and able to do all those things for 6 months and really tended to it for 3 months. In last month, we hit 11K. The next 7 days, we're projected to, or we have set in 3,000 for a week. So it's just like the numbers alone, the opportunity that you're able to do is like, okay, if you're a numbers person like Isaac, that's the numbers.
Yeah. The math doesn't lie. That's what I love about numbers with this business. The math doesn't lie.
Yeah.
And you know exactly like what your percentage of recurring versus one-time cleans. This is a recurring business game, so your recurring keeps growing. Your one-time cleans are like the icing on the cake. And then you just keep growing. Whereas, like you said, if it gets stagnant, time to sell and get some fresh energy in there that actually cares about their local community. This is a local business.
Speaking to Google, I think it was easier for me to get verified 2 years ago in Chicago than it was for me to get verified in Columbus this year. And I'm
100%.
with our whole address. Like I'm literally at home, like showing them my own vacuum cleaner. Like, yeah, I own a cleaning business. Here's my vacuum cleaner, and here's my dish soap. Like I like
So to speak to anybody watching this, we do have videos about this, but now you need to print an actual sign that looks professional, put it on your door. You'd have to do a video verification. You have to physically be there with your phone because they can track it. There are a bunch of steps, and what we're talking about is getting verified with a Google business listing. Because without having that, yes, you can run your cleaning company, but it is a hell of a lot harder because the majority of people look to Google. Google is king for anybody searching for anything. It's why we're on YouTube, because YouTube, owned by Google, is the second largest search engine in the world. So people looking, who are doing their research, who are our people, because we don't pay to reach these people. We don't advertise. We just put stuff out that resonates with them, and that's it. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you both, and I'm so excited for the announcement that you make in the community when you sell your cleaning business. You're going to get a million DMs from the members all saying like, okay, how'd you do it? Only 2 years. How much? How hard? So we'll dive into that once that's actually done. And depending on what you're allowed to reveal, etc. But I think that'll be really fun for everybody. Wow, what did I just do?
yeah, I think once it's done, I'll be able to share all the numbers and the details and how it all went down. But yeah,
Yeah.
right now we're literally in negotiation. So
I'm so stoked for
We
you.
really, really appreciate you having us. And we are always, I mean, we're an open book, open door for anybody that has questions or just wants to be in the mud together, as we
Yep.
say, work through things together.
And Jenna, if people want to follow up with you, because you're wearing your shirt Next Level You, and that relates to.
Well, I do have a podcast, Next Level You. And Next Level You is part of my branding. But yeah, I mean, my name is on Instagram. That's where I talk to a lot of people at Jenna.Kloffenstein. And then my website's JennaKloffenstein.com. And then my podcast is Next Level You. I took a break from it this summer, but I love it. I've been doing it for years and it's awesome.
And congrats on baby number 3.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah, we're having a girl after 2 boys. So
the house
we'll
is about
start-
to change.
Here we go. All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.